Hare Krishna. So now we move to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 38, wherein we are seeing Akrura's. Again, this is meditation by Akrura. So we saw the meditation which we are supposed to do on all the various limbs of the Lord. Here again, Akrura is meditating on how he is going to have darshan of the Lord, on how he is going to have ecstatic time meeting the Lord. So we saw that Kamsa has ordered Akrura to go to Vrindavana and bring Krishna and Balarama to Mathura to be, and he has made all the arrangements for killing them. And here we see that Akrura expresses in his meditation all his humility, respect, his gratitude, and then his appreciation of the opportunity given to him. Everything, thankfulness. We can even see, how in the next verse we will see how he is feeling thankful to Kamsa because Kamsa is giving the opportunity. So we will see this. First, we will chant the 3-4 verses in revision, and then Mataji can follow me. Kimmaya Charit 10:38, 3 we are seeing now because the meditation starts from there. Kimmaya Charitam Bhadram.
Kimmaya Charitam Bhadram.
Kim Taptam Paramam Tapaha.
Kim Taptam Paramam Tapaha.
Kim Vadapyarhate Dattam.
Kim Vatapyar Arhate Dattam.
Yadrakshyami Adya Keshavam.
Yadrakshyamyadya Keshavam.
Read translation, Mataji.
Sri Akrura thought, what pious deeds have I done? What severe austerities undergone? What worship performed or charity given so that today I will see Lord Keshava?
See, here it is he is expressing how much humility he is expressing. That I don't deserve to see, but somehow this has been arranged for me. Then 10:38:4 Mamaita Durlabham Manya.
Mamaita Durlabham Manya.
Uttama Shloka Darshanam.
Uttama Shloka Darshanam.
Vishayatmano Yata Brahma.
Vishayatmano Yatha Brahma.
Kirtanam Shudra Janmanaha.
Kirtanam Shudra Janmanaha.
Read the translation.
Since I am a materialistic person, absorbed simply in sense gratification, I think it is as difficult for me to have gotten this opportunity to see Lord Uttama Shloka as it would be for one born a Shudra to be allowed to recite the Vedic mantras.
This is the way he's feeling, how much humility he's expressing. Even though he's a pure devotee of the Lord, he sees that it is such a great opportunity given to me to see Uttama Shloka. Then he says, Maivam Mamadhamasyapi.
Maivam Mamadhamasyapi.
Syadevachyuta Darshanam.
Syadevachyuta Darshanam.
Riyamanaha Kalanadya.
Riyamanaha Kalanadya.
Kvachit Tarati Kaschana.
Kvachit Tarati Kaschana.
Read translation.
But enough of such thoughts. After all, even a fallen soul like me can have the chance to behold the infallible Supreme Lord, for one of the conditioned souls being swept along in the river of time may sometimes reach the shore.
And then he's thinking that I'm thinking so much, then it may convert itself into inferiority complex. So he feels that, well, anyway, Krishna, even though I don't deserve, Krishna is very merciful. So some living entity sometimes definitely gets the chance, sometimes with the association of pure devotees or somehow or the other, because Krishna is always alert to bring the living entities to him. So some arrangement will be made sometime for some living entity. It may happen at any time. So let me not think so low like this that I may not get the opportunity. I will go into some positive thoughts. That is what he is telling. So then next verse he says, Mamadya Mangalam Nashtam.
Mamadya Mangalam Nashtam.
Palavamschaiva me bhavaha.
Palavamschaiva me bhavaha.
Yannamasye bhagavato.
Yannamasye bhagavato.
Yogidhyeyangri pankajam.
Yogidhyeyangri pankajam.
Read the translation.
Today, all my sinful reactions have been eradicated and my birth has become worthwhile, since I will offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, which mystic yogis meditate upon.
So he is thinking that let me get rid of all this bad thoughts. Now the opportunity has been given to me. Let me live in the present. Today, all my sinful reactions have been eradicated. Now I will offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord. So first thing he sees, just like we saw, the meditation, dhyana, sopanam also, first we have to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is what he's thinking. I will offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet first, which the mystic yogis are meditating upon. Then now he see how he is expressing his gratitude. He says, Kamso batadya kritametyanugraham
Kamsobhatadya kritametyanugraham
Drakshengri padmam prahido munaharehe
Drakshengripatmam prahito munaharehe
Kritaavatarasya duratyayam tamaha
Kritaavatarasya duratyayam tamaha
Purve taranyannakhamandalatvisha.
Purve taranyannakamandalatvisha.
Read the translation.
Indeed, today King Kamsa has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to see the lotus feet of Lord Hari, who has now appeared in this world. Simply by the effulgence of his toenails, many souls in the past have transcended the insurmountable darkness of material existence and achieved liberation.
See how grateful he is feeling to King Kamsa. He not even says Anugraham. What he says? Ati Anugraham. He has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to see the lotus feet. Even though no, this Kamsa is against Krishna, he wants to kill. He was bringing Krishna only to kill him. But still, Akrura feels that anyway, Akrura knows that Krishna is the supreme personality. He will not be hurt. Only Kamsa is going to be killed. All this he knows. That is why he says, now Kamsa has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to see the lotus feet of Lord Hari. So in this context of these verses, we were seeing the pastime of Ajamila. Mataji, can we move to that PowerPoint where we will go to Sudama today? So we are seeing the various devotees now, how they feel this humility and devotion and how they conquer over their feelings of being very low and how they engage in the devotional service. All this we are seeing. So first we saw the Ajamila, wherein first he was telling that where is my position and where is the position of holy name. So this we saw. Next he went, we saw Ajamila's determination, 6 to 35. Next slide, Mataji. 6 to 35. The next one. Yeah. Move to the next slide. Yes. So then we saw the determination of Ajamila. I said that, but I am such a sinful person. But since I have now, just like Krura says, now today I have get rid of my sinful reactions. Like that he is also telling. But since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind, life and senses and always engage in devotional service so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life. Now we move over to the Sudama. We will see Sudamas now. Next slide, Mataji. Yes. So we see the beautiful picture of Krishna serving Sudama. Here also, we will see how Sudama will meditate very nicely. Again, just like Akrura is meditating while he is traveling, correct? He is traveling, he is meditating. In the same way, Sudama comes to meet Krishna, and after meeting Krishna, he walks back to Porbandar, correct? That is the place from where he comes. So from Dwaraka to Porbandar, while walking all the way, Sudama, just like Akrura, is meditating. So we will see what are all a few of these meditations. Very beautiful shlokas are there. So same like Akrura, he will feel, First he says, Aho Brahmanya Devasya Drishta Brahmanyata Maya Yaddaridratamo Lakshmi Ashlishto Vibhrato Rasi. Mataji, can you read the translation?
Sudama thought, Lord Krishna is known to be devoted to the Brahmanas, and now I have personally seen this devotion. Indeed, he who carries the goddess of fortune on his chest has embraced the poorest beggar.
See how he feels, this personality, Krishna, he carries the goddess of fortune on his chest. That is what we are seeing in the Bhagavad Dhyana Sopanam, correct? And this personality, and what he has done, he has embraced me. And what is my position? I am a Daridra, a Daridra Tamu. He said, I am the poorest beggar. And that is why now, if you can see in the picture very nicely, see, Krishna is washing the lotus feet of Sudama, and tears are coming from Krishna's eyes. And Rukmini Devi is sitting down along with Krishna, backside of Krishna, and she is trying to serve also Sudama. And we can see two of the maid servants of Lakshmi who are just standing outside, and then they are not just peeping and to see what is this Brahmana? He is wearing just a kuchela. Kuchela itself means a baton garment he is wearing. Nothing he is wearing. And this Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, how he is serving him, tears are coming from his eyes. What is the good fortune? What is the position of this person? That's like they are completely excited to see that we can see, they are just standing behind the pillar and observing the scene, and which is completely amazing. Aho Ascharyam, they are seeing like this. So this is what Sudama was feeling while going back. No, how this person has embraced me, and this person has Lakshmi on his chest. And then he feels again in 10:81:16, just like, just whatever this Akrura or Ajamila is feeling. Kwaham daridrah papiyan wa Krishna Sriniketanaha. We saw, no? Kwaham, the same word, where we saw. Kwaham daridrah papiyan wa Krishna Sriniketanaha Brahma Bandhur iti smaham bahubhyam parirambitaha. He says, who am I? Where am I? What is my position? And Kwaham Daridra, I am a Daridra, means I am a poverty-stricken person. Papiyan, I am a very sinful person, because he is feeling that only because I am so sinful that I am living in such a poverty-stricken condition. Kwaham Daridra Papiyan. Kwa Krishna, where is Krishna? And who is this Krishna? Sri Niketanaha. And the Lakshmi is always residing with him. Kwa Krishna, Sri Niketanaha. And I am a Brahma Bandhu. He says, I am not a Brahmana. I am a Brahma Bandhu, means I am born in the Brahmana family. I am acting like a Brahmana. So that's such a person is called Brahma Bandhu in Sanskrit. So Brahma Bandhu Ritis Maham. But what Krishna is doing? Bahubhyam. So that is what we are saying, the meditation on the Lord's arms. And he is embracing this Sudama with his arms. So this is a pastime again we can remember while chanting that verse. When we are remembering the Bahu or the arms of the Lord, we can remember how Krishna is embracing Sudama. Bahubhyam parirambitaha. And then, so the next meditation. Next slide, Mataji. Yes, 10:81:17. And then again he is meditating. Nivasitaha priya jushte paryanke bhrataro yatha mahishya vijitaha shranto balavyajana hastaya. He is remembering all the services which Krishna was doing to him. He says, he treated me just like one of his brothers, no? Just like a bhratara. Bhratara means brother. He treated me just like one of his brothers, making me sit on the bed of his beloved Kansa. Actually, Krishna at that time was staying in Rukmini's palace, and he has come to that palace only. And then immediately Krishna came down from the bed and went running to receive Sudama. And then he is asking Sudama to sit on the bed of Rukmini Mata. Even we ourselves, we are so conditioned living in it, we won't allow anybody to come and sit on our bed, correct? But see, Krishna, he made Sudama sit on his bed of his beloved Kansa. And because I was fatigued, his queen personally fanned me, and with a york-tail Shamara, Rukmini Mata, personally, she chanted me. All this he is remembering. While going back to Porbandar, Sudama is remembering all these pastimes, all these services which Krishna was kindly doing, and tears were flowing from his eyes. And then again he is remembering 18th verse. Shushrushaya paramaya pada samvahanadibihi ujito deva devena vipra devena devavat. And though he is the Lord of all the demigods and the object of worship for all Brahmanas, he worshipped me. I'm not able to see. Mataji, can you just make it a little? You can make it a little upwards, because I'm not able to read. I don't know.
The presentation, that's why I can't scroll, but I can read it for you.
I'll read it out, Mataji.
Yeah, you read it. Please read it. Yeah, read it for me.
Although he is the Lord of all demigods and the object of worship for all Brahmanas, he worshipped me as if I were a demigod myself, massaging my feet and rendering other humble services.
See, Krishna was massaging the feet of Sudama, and he was doing, see, we can see how nicely he's doing the Abhishekam for his lotus feet and all these things. So this is the way he is meditating. At the end of the meditation, and then we know that no, Sudama was bestowed with all the opulences. When he returned, came near the place of Porbandar, he saw that there was so big, his house was not there. Big palaces were there, and it was completely opulent place. Gardens were there, and all the people there were completely opulent. And seeing all this, now move to the next slide, Mataji. Yes. And then so he's, this is what I'm seeing all that. And then he was thinking how much Krishna has reciprocated to me. So here the Acharyas explained how much Krishna feels gratitude for Sudama. Here Sudama is feeling, but Acharyas write how Krishna feels for Sudama. We will see that after this verse, 10:81:35. So this is the quality of Krishna. He speaks, Sudama speaks. Inchit karodgurvapi yat swadattam suhritkritam phalgvapi bhurikari mayopanitam prutukaika mushtim pratyagrahit pritiyuto mahatma. Mataji, read the translation.
Lord considers even his greatest benedictions to be insignificant, while he magnifies even a small service rendered to him by his well-wishing devotee. Thus, with pleasure, the Supreme Soul accepted a single palmful of the flat rice I brought him.
See, he is just a mushti, no? Single handful of that rice which he has brought. For that, how much Krishna has reciprocated. And for that, because he didn't even tell, Krishna didn't tell Yashodhama, when you go back, you will have so much of opulence. I have endowed you so much of opulence, and in return for whatever you have come. No, Krishna never opened his mouth. Krishna just sent him, just told him goodbye, and then Sudama was walking. And Sudama never thought that all this has come to him. And then the author has right in 1081:34 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Purport is very beautiful. And in that, the Acharya is right. What Krishna is thinking? Krishna is thinking, my dear friend has given me this poha. No, this is the poha was the one which was given by Sudama. My dear friend has given me this poha, which is greater than all the treasures I own. Why he considers like this? He says, even though he had nothing in his house, he took the trouble of begging it from a neighbor, because this poha also Sudama didn't have in his home. His wife went to the neighbor and begged for the poha, and he has got this for me. So Krishna is thinking, he took the trouble of begging it from a neighbor. Therefore, it is only proper that I give him something more valuable than all my possessions. See, Sudama, what he has given something which is more valuable than all his possessions. So something which Sudama did not possess on his own, that he has begged and he has given to Krishna. And now Krishna feels that I have also to give him in reciprocation for something which is more than what I possess. So now what is more than what Krishna possesses? There's nothing, because everything is possessed only by Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Now where will Krishna go and beg for something which is outside his own possession? Just like Sudama did, he wants to do that. So there is why Krishna is feeling so much. But nothing is equal to or greater than what I possess. So all I can do is to give him such meager thing as the treasure of Indra, Brahma, or other demigods. Only this much opulence only I can give him. Embarrassed. So Krishna is feeling so embarrassed. See, Sudama gave me something more than what he had in his own possession. Now I am unable to reciprocate him by giving him something more than what I possess. So what I should feel? I should feel very, very embarrassed. So why should I openly declare to Sudama that I have given you something? See, supposing if I am giving something very big, I should declare, Sudama, I have offered you this. But now I am in a position lower than him. I am not able to reciprocate. So I cannot announce this. No, we feel very ashamed not to say that too. I am giving you only this much. So what did Sudha Krishna do? He didn't speak a word to Sudama. Embarrassed that he is unable to reciprocate this devotee's offerings. So silently, and Bhagavatam says, Parjanyavat, just like a magnanimous rain cloud. Just supposing the rains in monsoons, the rain clouds, they feel that whatever the farmers are doing for me, I am not reciprocating for them enough by giving my rains. So I will not rain during the daytime. So that is why we see many of the times the rains pour down during the night. That is the quality of the magnanimity of the clouds. So I will not, I'm very ashamed to offer before them in the daytime when they see that I am offering something. No, I am very ashamed. What I am and I'm giving in reciprocation is very little. So during the night time only, without their knowledge, without their knowing, I will pour some rain. So this is the feeling of the clouds. So in the same way, embarrassed that he is unable to reciprocate his devotees' offerings, so silently, like a magnanimous rain cloud, which feels that he is not able to reciprocate to the farmers who are giving abundant offerings out of shame. The rain is pouring during the night time. In the same way, Krishna also gave all the opulences without speaking a word, feeling very, very ashamed about what Krishna is giving. So this is the feeling of gratitude Krishna is having towards Sudama. And these are Sudama's feelings also. And now, what is the conclusion Sudama comes to? And what is the prayer which he is offering? Just like Ajamila comes to a determination, this is the determination which Sudama comes to. That is in 1081:36. So with that, we will finish. Tasyaiva me sauhrida sakya maitri dasyam punarjanmani janmani syat महानुभावेन गुणालयेन Vishajatastad Purusha Prasangah. Mataji, read the translation.
The Lord is the supremely compassionate reservoir of all transcendental qualities. Life after life, may I serve him with love, friendship, and sympathy, and may I cultivate such firm attachment for him by the precious association of his devotees.
So this is the way he makes a determination, just like Ajamila, that life after life, I will serve him with friendship and sympathy, and then with a firm attachment for him by his precious association of the devotees. Again, we will just see, move to the next slide, Mataji. Just 2 3 minutes. And now this is yes, Prahlad Maharaj. See, this is the feeling, no, same like Sudama or Jamila or Akrura. Prahlada also, when he is asked to offer his prayers before Lord Narasimha Deva, he feels, so humble. That is what he says, no, Prahlada Uvacha Brahmadaya Suragana Munayota Siddhaha Sattvaikatana Gatayo Vachasam Prabhahi Naraditum Purugunairadhunapi Pipruhu Kim Toshtumarhati Same Harirudra Jatehe. Mataji, read the translation.
Prahlada Maharaj prayed, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma and all the saintly persons, could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words, although such persons are very qualified, being in the mode of goodness. Then what is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified.
This is the humility expressed by Prahlad Maharaj. No, I'm not, because I'm Ugra Jati. I'm born in a family of Asuras. How do you expect me to please the Lord? That is what he says. But again, with that, he doesn't talk. He also has a determination. That we will see. Mother, move the slide. I think the next you. Yes, this is the determination which Prahlad comes to. He doesn't feel that because I am unqualified, I will not do anything. No, what does he feel? Tasmadaham vigata viklava ishwarasya sarvatmana mahigrinami yatha manisham nicho jaya guna visarga manu pravishtaha Uyetaye nahi puman my position is very low, but what I am going to do now, Mataji, read the translation.
Therefore, although I was born in a demonic family, I may without a doubt offer prayers to the Lord with full endeavor as far as my intelligence allows. Anyone who has been forced by ignorance to enter the material world may be purified of material life if he offers prayers to the Lord and hears the Lord's glories.
So he says that I am not qualified, but still I will without a doubt offer my prayers to the Lord and do all the services, because by doing this only we are getting purified. So that is why there is a difference between humility and inferiority complex. Mataji, move the slide. I think that slide is there. Humility and inferiority complex. Yes, humility, and that is why he says Vigata Viklava. He says no, that I will give up the contemplation of being unfit to do any service. I will give up that contemplation and do the service as far as my intelligence allows. That is why we can see in this slide what is the difference between humility and inferiority complex. 4 points are there. Somebody can read it. By Vishali or somebody is there.
Mataji, I'll read it.
Yeah, read.
Humility is not thinking less of oneself, it is thinking of oneself less. This means that in inferiority complex, we keep saying, I am low, I am fallen, I am unfit, I am this, I am that, which means we are more I conscious than Krishna conscious.
We are more I conscious. Yes.
A humble person thinks more of Krishna than of himself.
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada very wonderfully defines humility as humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. Thus, a humble person does not need others glorify him to feel a sense of self worth. In inferiority complex, there is a feeling of insecurity and lack of self worth, and we seek that from something external. And this increases our anxiety and expectation that others should glorify us and
So
honor
after
us.
we do a service, no, we feel unless somebody appreciates, I feel very depressed. This is what is we are doing. Yes. Next.
In a humble person, there is no desire to hold on to false ego, and hence false ego is rejected. Whereas in inferiority complex, the false ego is frustrated.
Frustrated. Our false ego is frustrated. That is why we are depressed. Whereas in humility, there is no false ego. We reject the false ego and we know that we are servants of Krishna. Yes, last.
There is no stoppage of service by a humble person. It is not that we say, I am fallen, I am fallen, I am unqualified for the service, and thus deny performing the service. The motivation for service in case of a humble person is only to glorify the Lord and purify oneself, whereas a person with an inferiority complex either desists from performance of service or performs the service with the motive of parading and proving himself and not purifying oneself.
So let us all pray. First of all, me, that let us do all the services with the intention of just purifying ourselves and pleasing the Lord instead of trying to prove ourselves that I am very worthy or feel very low that I am unworthy. Or these two extremes should be avoided. And we should always do the services in the real, genuine mood of humility. All these devotees, no, Ajamila or this Sudama or this Prahlada expressed, and just do whatever within our capacity for our own purification. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll see in the next class the further meditations of Akrura and also the next verse of the Dhyana Shlokanam. Thank you, Mataji.